All right, let's dive in. The world's entire energy system is balanced on a knife's edge. Today, we're breaking down the International Energy Agency's massive 2025 forecast, their World Energy Outlook, to really get a handle on the tensions that are going to define our future and, maybe more importantly, the choices we have to make right now.
And the IEA kicks things off with a pretty stark warning. You see this quote, "In a volatile world, energy security takes center stage." What that really means is this isn't just about keeping the lights on anymore. This is about national security. It's about economic survival.
So the report paints this picture of a world that's being pulled in a bunch of different directions, all at the same time. And this isn't just one single challenge. It's a whole series of deep-seated contradictions that are creating a uniquely tricky landscape for anyone trying to make policy. Okay, so what are these contradictions? Well, you've got this incredible fragility in key energy-producing regions, but at the same time, the market is practically swimming in oil. You have countries desperately trying to secure their energy future, but they're going in opposite directions, some all in on renewables, others doubling down on fossil fuels. And maybe the biggest one, we're facing absolutely catastrophic climate risks made painfully real by the record heat we saw in 2024, yet the political will to do something big about it, it's slowing down. This friction, this tension is the backdrop for everything.
This new, complex world really forces us to redefine what security even means. You know, the old playbook from the 20th century, it's pretty much obsolete because the very nature of energy security is changing right under our feet.
For decades, you can go all the way back to the oil shocks of the 1970s. That phrase energy security meant just one thing, making sure you could get your hands on oil. Simple. But as the IEA makes crystal clear, sticking to that old definition today isn't just outdated, it's actually dangerous.
And here's the powerful shift. The focus is moved from securing barrels of crude oil to securing these incredibly complex global supply chains for the technologies of the future. We're talking about things like batteries, solar panels, wind turbines, and also protecting the very infrastructure, the electricity grids, that power our increasingly digital lives.
Now, this is where my background as a process specialist really comes into play. See, the real bottleneck, the real choke point, isn't just digging the raw ore out of the ground. It's what comes next, the highly specialized, super complex chemical refining. We're talking about processes like solvent extraction or electrowinning to get these materials up to 99.9% purity. Those facilities are the real heart of the issue for the entire clean energy transition.
And this number just brilliantly illustrates the risk. 70%. That's a staggering figure. For a moment, just imagine 100 different rivers all being forced to flow through one single narrow canal, right? Any blockage in that one canal, whether it's political, logistical, whatever, it affects everything downstream. Well, that's pretty much the situation we're in with mineral processing today.
This new dependence on all these technologies and new materials leads us directly to the second massive shift that the report identifies, the absolutely unstoppable rise of electricity.
Just think about that number for a second. Electricity use is growing 4 times faster than our overall energy demand. That means electricity isn't just a piece of the puzzle anymore, it is the puzzle. It's becoming the central pillar on which our entire modern world, from our cars to the data that runs our lives, is being built.
So what's driving this massive surge? Well, the report points to 3 key areas. First, the explosive and almost insatiable growth of data centers and artificial intelligence. Second, the simple and growing need for cooling and air conditioning in a warming world. And third, of course, the global shift to electric vehicles.
You know, for the last 20 years or so, one country's incredible growth really defined the entire global energy market. But as we look out towards the next decade and beyond, that map is being completely redrawn. China's expansion was the defining story of the 2000s, right? It accounted for more than half of all new energy demand. But now, as China's economy starts to mature and change, the story of the next decade is going to be written by a whole new set of dynamic, emerging economies led by India and the really vibrant nations of Southeast Asia.
So you've got all these powerful forces at play. Where's the world actually heading? Well, the IEA is really careful not to give us just one single forecast. Instead, what it does is show us the very different consequences of 2 very different paths we could take.
Yeah, think of these as 2 distinct storylines for our future. The first one, the current policy scenario, or CPS, that's the world we get if we pretty much continue with business as usual. The second one, the stated policy scenario, or STEPS, well, that's the world we get if all the ambitions and targets that governments have announced actually become reality.
And the gap between these 2 paths? It isn't just a line on a chart. We're talking about trillions of dollars in investment, fundamental shifts in geopolitical power, and ultimately the difference between a really dangerous future and a truly catastrophic one.
Let's be real. The numbers here tell the whole story. On our current path, the CPS, oil demand just keeps climbing, and we end up locking in a devastating 2.9 degrees of warming. Now, if governments simply keep their existing promises, that STEPS path, we actually see oil demand peak within this decade, and we limit warming to about 2.5 degrees. Now, that's a significant improvement for sure, but it's still a long way from what we'd call a safe climate. The choice is pretty stark. So, at the end of the day, the most crucial point is this. The IEA report, it's not a prediction of what will happen. It's a map. It's a map showing us different destinations based on the decisions that we, all of us, make starting today. And it leaves us with the ultimate question. Not what does the future hold, but which future will we choose to build?